The beginning of the parasha tells us about the Jewish slave, and of course also the Canaanite slave. But here it tells us that this Jewish slave has rules. First and foremost, how does he even become a slave? How does he become a slave? If somebody went and tried to rob somebody, they robbed them, but they got caught. But by the time they got caught, they say, okay, give back the stuff you stole. He doesn't have the money. He spent it, bought a fancy car, and then the car crashed. He bought some jewelry and he gave it to his girlfriend and she ran away with some other guy. You know, it's gone. He spent it on bottles. He spent it on all types of temporary things. Now that you busted down the door with some Mossad agents, and which of course all were wearing tzitzit and the kippah and with tzaddikim, and knew the entire Shas by heart. But now that you caught him, you gotta pay up. He says, no speak English. So I'm sorry. You are caught. We know you understand what we're saying. Give the money. Say, I don't have it. Say, okay, so you speak English well, but your bank account is not so well. So, what do we do with you? Bet Din, Paskins, he becomes a slave. Becomes a slave. In order for him to do TeShuva, in order for him to go serve his new master, which is the victim of his crime, and the victim of his crime actually is now tasked with helping this thief become a better person. He has to feed him. He has to give him. If he has one pillow, he has to give it to him. If he has one bed, he has to give it to him. If he has meat, he has to give him meat. He has to give him everything. If he comes with a wife and kids, he has to feed them also. Meaning that this new owner is not exactly like the slave owners of America and other countries, where for whatever reason or another, people think that slavery has ended. And I've been saying this for years. Slavery has never ended. Slavery has changed. Countless people are slaves. Perhaps they don't realize it, or they don't want to consider themselves as such, but certainly they are. Whether they're slaves to very wealthy people and they're chauffeurs and butlers and cleaning people, or they work for major corporations, and pretty much when the corporation calls them in the middle of a weekend to come into the office and work, the answer no is not available. And all types of people that dedicate their life, and in essence, they're slaves. And this is very much part of capitalism. Now, when people hear the word slave, they immediately say, oh, this is bad, this is terrible, I can't believe it. No, there's really nothing wrong with slavery if you actually know what Jewish slavery is. The slavery that most people are familiar with is the evil type of slavery where they, kill people, torture them, rape them, and do all types of things that are against the Torah. But when it comes to Jewish slavery, there's really nothing wrong with slavery. But needless to say, this does not mean that it's it's fun to be a slave. There are rules, there are rebukes. He may even get a slap or two if he's not doing his job. But needless to say, if he gets permanently injured, he's freed. If she gets permanently injured, if she loses an eye or tooth or something like that, they're freed. They're no longer a slave. If they get killed, then the person that killed them, even if it's the owner, gets a death penalty. Even if the owner is a Kohen that's about to bring a sacrifice at the Bet HaMikdash, as soon as they know that he's a killer, they take him off out of the Bet HaMikdash, even if he's in the middle of a servitude and bringing a sacrifice. They take him off the Mizbeach, they bring him to the Bet Din, to the Sanhedrin, they do a death penalty. Why? You killed the slave. So, again, slavery is, when you really think about it, is very, very different than people's perception. But nonetheless, there are rules. There are rules. And some of these rules don't agree with the ideology of today, modern day ideology. First off, says that slaves exist. And in fact, slaves is something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu instilled into the world. And there are mitzvot associated with slavery. So automatically, any liberal mentality type of person is rejecting the Torah vehemently. And I've heard this many times from different types of heretics. Oh, you follow the Torah? So what? You're telling me that you agree with slavery? You agree with someone selling their daughter? You agree with this? You know, this obviously shows that people didn't actually read the Torah. They just, read some Google, or maybe they read a verse without actually understanding it. And that's why we're going to try to understand and learn how to understand what we don't understand. Because already we started the parasha with something that is almost impossible to understand, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew about the golden calf. Moshe Rabbeinu knew about the golden calf. But we continued business as usual. So the slave, Torah Kedusha says, 6-year term, on the 7th year he's freed. If he shall enter servitude by himself, meaning that he's not married, he shall go out by himself, where his master may not give him a Canaanite slave woman for whom to father slaves. And if he is a husband of a Jewish woman, for whom the master is obligated to provide food for, then when he leaves, his wife shall go with him, and the master is no longer obligated to provide her food. And if the master shall give him a Canaanite slave woman, and she bears him sons and daughters, the slave woman and her children shall belong to her master, and he shall go out by himself. So here, we already see a few different conditions. The guy that comes in single, bachelor, got caught stealing. Okay, you're going to be a slave for the next 6 years. On the 7th year, you'll be freed. All right, fine. Listen, I'm a young guy, 20 years old. My hormones are at peak level. Can you hook me up with some Canaanite? No. Well, can I marry someone? No. Well, listen, this other guy, you gave it to him. Yeah, he's married. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Wait, you're telling me the guy that came in here, he's a slave. He's married with kids to a Jewish woman. And you told him, listen, go make me some more slaves. It's a factory. Of course, already, the liberals are like, oh, Torah says to make slaves. I can't believe it. This is an outrage. Yes, it's an outrage. You're 100% right. It's an outrage. But it's Torah. And your acceptance of the Torah is completely irrelevant to the truth of the Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. He's the one that makes the rules. Master says, listen, I got a big field. I just bought another one. We want to do some more farming. We want to expand the operation. We want to go statewide. It's not enough. I need to make some more employees. Why hire if I could just create? So I'm going to give you, I have one Canaanite woman. She's good. She's good for at least 10, 15 more kids. So you, Mr. Married Jew that became a slave, you're going to make me some kids that are going to become my slaves. Wait, but didn't you say in last night's shiur about Jewish intimacy how it's forbidden for a Jew to be with a non-Jew? It's a sin. It's horrible. It's terrible. Yes, but not under these conditions. That doesn't make any sense. Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. Why? Because you're thinking with a human mind. You're thinking you're supposed to understand everything. You're thinking you are a little mini-God, and therefore you should understand. Like sometimes I see that people are so busy commenting about different shiurim, they forget to watch. We are meant to be a light unto the nations, not to follow their misguided practices. Remember, every Jew has to remember that he's a Jew. and she's a Jew. We don't celebrate non-Jewish holidays, even if they seem harmless. It's a zilzul, disrespect to the Torah, and could lead to Chilul Hashem, desecration of God's name. Stick to our holy Torah and our own holidays. That's the path of a true Jew.